Assalamu alaikum. Today on Noran Academy, we discuss technology and Akhlaq, the moral architecture of progress. If you benefit, please support by subscribing and sharing as a sadaqah.
You know, we live in this amazing age of incredible technological advancement. Our phones are faster than ever, our systems are smarter, and the world feels so connected. But underneath all that celebration, isn't there this quiet, growing unease, a feeling that maybe in our rush forward, we're leaving something absolutely essential behind?
And that feeling brings us to a really central question for our time. Is it really progress if our tools get more and more sophisticated, but our akhlaq, our character, our moral compass, starts to weaken? Well, from an Islamic perspective, the answer is incredibly clear. It's direct and uncompromising. Any so-called advancement that erodes our character, that's not progress at all.
Now, this isn't just some nice, fluffy sentiment. It's a foundational principle. Our tradition teaches us that true success, what we call falah, is just impossible without good akhlaq, without that moral integrity. So think about it. Any progress that comes at the cost of our character is, in reality, a huge step backward. Let's dive in and really explore why technology and character are so deeply connected.
It's so easy to look at technology and just label it as good or evil, but that's not quite right. A much more accurate way to see it is as an amplifier, a powerful tool that doesn't create new values out of thin air. No, what it does is it magnifies the ones we already have. A social media platform, for example, isn't inherently good or bad. It simply amplifies the kindness or the cruelty of the people using it.
So, here's the crucial point, the thing we really have to grasp. Technology is a mirror. It just reflects our own inner state back at us. If a person's heart is rooted in goodness, then technology becomes this incredible means to spread that goodness far and wide. But if our values are weak, if our intentions are corrupt, that exact same technology becomes a vehicle for spreading harm faster and more devastatingly than we've ever seen before.
And we can never, ever forget this. The moral responsibility, it always comes back to us, to the creators, and to the users. A machine, no matter how intelligent we make it, has no conscience. The conscience lives inside the human heart. And this, right here, is why Islam places such a profound emphasis on akhlaq as the absolute, non-negotiable foundation for everything we build and everything we do.
Okay, think of akhlaq like the roots of a giant tree. You might not always see them, right? They're underground. But the entire structure, the trunk, the branches, the leaves, everything depends on those roots for stability and for life itself. Now, what happens when we try to build our innovations on weak moral roots? The result isn't just unstable, like you see here. It's downright dangerous.
And what's so powerful here is how you can see this transformation in action. At the top, you have these noble concepts: knowledge, justice, ingenuity. But look what happens when you strip away the guiding force of akhlaq. They get corrupted. Knowledge without humility, that just becomes arrogance. Power without mercy turns into oppression. And innovation without wisdom, well, that becomes a dangerous trap for everyone.
You see, this integration of ethics and action is right at the heart of the Islamic intellectual and spiritual tradition. There was never this idea of pursuing knowledge just for its own sake, with no ethical guardrails. Power was always understood as a trust, an amana from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that trust was tied directly to responsibility. And any skill, any craft, was ultimately judged by the intention, the niyyah that was behind it.
And this is exactly what happens when we forget that core principle. The problems that are dominating our digital lives today, all the misinformation, the exploited privacy, the constant battle for our attention, these are not fundamentally technological failures. They are failures of character. They exist because the human element, the akhlaq, was left out of the equation. And that brings this whole conversation right down to our own personal responsibility.
So, let's make this personal. This isn't just some abstract discussion about giant tech companies or big societal trends. This is about you. If you're a designer, a coder, an engineer, a creator of any kind, your work is not morally neutral. It can't be. Every single line of code you write, every design you create is an expression of your values, whether you mean for it to be or not.
Just think about that for a second. When you're making a choice, are you prioritizing efficiency over the well-being of the user? Are you prioritizing engagement over truth? These aren't just technical decisions. These are moral choices, and they get embedded directly into the digital world you are building.
I mean, the way you design a simple interface can either respect a person's autonomy or it can be used to manipulate their behavior. The choices you make are never just aesthetic. They are deeply ethical. They send a clear message about what you believe is truly important.
And every single time we're tempted to take a shortcut, to cut a corner on privacy or on safety or on basic ethical considerations, we are making a loud and clear statement about our priorities. What do we truly value? Is it excellence and integrity? Or is it just about speed and profit?
And this is the ultimate cost. You might build an incredibly successful product. It might make millions, but if you do it by compromising your character, your akhlaq, then you will have lost something infinitely more valuable. That worldly success will come at the direct expense of your spiritual well-being. But this isn't the only way. We can, and we must, envision and build a better path forward.
So let's try to envision a different kind of future. A future that isn't shaped by this constant tension between technology and values, but by their beautiful integration. Imagine a future built by a generation of Muslims who deeply understand that their technical skills and their Islamic ethics aren't two separate parts of their life. No, they're like two wings of the same bird, working together. Just imagine a generation that builds with all the speed of modern innovation, but is guided by the timeless principles of fairness and justice. A generation that innovates boldly, pushing boundaries, but acts with a profound sense of responsibility. A generation that leads with confidence and vision, but stays humble, anchored in the knowledge that every ability is a gift from Allah Ta'ala.
And let's be perfectly clear. This is not about rejecting technology. Not at all. It's about protecting the very purpose of progress, which is to serve humanity, not to harm it. Because any advancement that costs people their dignity, their well-being, or their faith, well, that's not progress. That's a deception. And it's not a path we should ever pursue.
So the big question is, how do we actually make this vision a reality? It starts with a conscious, daily commitment. Here we've got 4 commitments that can act as our guide, reminding us that, in the end, our work is judged on a completely different scale.
These 4 commitments, checking our intention, refusing those harmful shortcuts, protecting the vulnerable, and always choosing integrity over applause, they all point us towards a much deeper question. They force us to stop and ask, what is the ultimate measure of everything we do?
In the boardrooms and the tech labs of the world, success is measured by metrics, right? User growth, revenue, market share. But we have to remember, these are all temporary measures. We have to be asking ourselves a deeper, more permanent question.
Because this is the final measure. On the day of judgment, the question won't be how advanced was your algorithm or how sleek was your design. No, the question from our Creator will be about our impact, about our responsibility. I gave you these tools. I gave you this knowledge and this power. How did you use them to treat my creation?
In the end, it's our akhlaq that is the spiritual catalyst. It's the secret ingredient that can transform our daily work into an act of worship, an ibadah. And, on the flip side, its absence can turn even the most brilliant worldly success into a source of deep, eternal regret. That's why this is so important. Technology is definitely going to change the world, but it's our akhlaq that will decide what kind of world it becomes.
So let this be our guiding principle. The challenge for our generation of the Ummah isn't just to catch up technologically. Our real unique contribution must be to lead with moral clarity. Because the world doesn't just need faster tools, it desperately needs better hearts behind them. So let us strive to be that generation. A generation that builds a future where progress serves a real purpose and innovation is always guided by revelation. Presented and created by Noreen Studio.